how I do feel myself being with Lithuanians. Again, people are different, the culture is different, and definitely I'm aware of the changes and it is affecting me. It's strange, it's weird, when you're used, living in Latin America, South America for all of these eight years, right? People here are different, they're more reserved, I'm not saying that they are bad people, no. For me, no people are good or bad people, but I think it's easier, or maybe it's just because I'm so used to living, in South America, that it feels more easy when it is more easy to address people, speak with them, laugh with them, and even a person you don't know, you just go on approach and you start speaking as if you have known this person, That doesn't happen here. People are more kind of reserved and it's different. There's like more space between people, and I think that it doesn't help anybody. There is already so much, loneliness in the world. People feel alone, isolated, and now even more with all of this. I don't know. With all of this technology, I don't know, but in South America people are still like closer to each other, and that feels, I think that feels nicer, and that feels easier for people, to stay like more community kind of feeling. So that is one thing that I'm aware of being here. Like people have maybe more ego, should I say it? It's difficult to speak. These are subtle things to talk about, but seems like in general in Peru, where I have lived for at least, people are more simple, and it is more easy to communicate with them. I'm not saying it is hard to communicate with people here. I hadn't really spoken much with, it's been only 6 days that I'm here, back in Lithuania. I just spent some time with my parents, my brother, and yesterday my grandmother and my cousin who came, and my uncles, 3 uncles who came to visit me. They heard that I'm here, and they came to see me, But you can feel this energy that is different. And for me, that definitely feels like a big change. The whole energy, not only people, but the very place itself, the very land, the very, Lithuania has a different energy. And some of it, and much of it is really beautiful, and much of it is really bad. And it's again a very subtle thing to talk about, that it would be very hard to name. But I was thinking about these days, I was observing it and feeling and trying to understand what it is so different here. Because just being here by itself, I feel different than I felt all these 9 years away from this country, I do feel different, and I remember the same kind of feeling, the same kind of background feeling, again in my experience, the same feeling that I would have, as long as I lived here, all of my childhood, up to 20 and something years that I had when I left for the India. So some of it, this energy, feels to me very, very old. Hard to explain, hard to express. Serene, very kind of old or ancient. rich energy. But at the same time, the bad thing, there's a lot of pain that I can feel. A strange type of pain, like heaviness, feeling of like a burden, a feeling of, like many bad things had happened. And it is still to be felt. I still feel it in the very energy being in Lithuania. That is just, I'm aware of it because I hadn't felt this for 9 years, right? And I'm trying to observe it and understand it. Where is it coming from and how it is? It's the same, the very energy that this place has, that is, is like, sometimes like desperate energy, sometimes like hard to survive. That could be explained probably also, this country had very tough history the last 100 years. Both world wars had affected, this land, and now, as I was speaking, hearing my grandmother talk, bad things would happen here, people lived in constant fear. Second World War, people grew to be suspicious of each other because, anytime somebody can, how you say, betray you, and you are being shot, killed in the place, or you're being killed somewhere else, or you, by the Russians, for example, you would be, they would, everybody whom the Soviets didn't like, they would send them to Siberia, to Russia, to north part of Russia, where it is, very hard conditions of survival. So maybe some of this energy that I feel is coming from these times, I don't know. But I feel it, and I cannot escape it, and I don't want to escape it. I want to see it, and I want to understand it, and I want to understand what I have to do with it, because I'm aware that everybody feels it when they are here, even though I'm sure probably nobody or almost nobody is aware of that, because when you live in it day by day, you are not aware of that. But when you go out for 9 years and you come back and suddenly you feel like, wow, what is this feeling I have that I didn't have for 9 years, and you understand that it has something to do with this, So that is something interesting. That every place has its energy, Does it mean that we should go and search for some place that has good energy? Go somewhere to the Himalayas or somewhere where the energy is good, so that we are more happy and will have a nicer life? I don't think so. I think that it is also our responsibility to help this energy, It's up to us and the way we live, what we leave to the upcoming generations, and what they are going to feel, what they are going to live, End of the video.